What's going on, people? Welcome back to another first time watchers of the month video. This time it's February, let's get straight into it. I kicked off the month with Companion. This was a nice simple look into our modern dating space, AI and our relationship with technology. It's not trying to be complex with its themes and messages, it presents it in a very simple but effective manner. And it does a good job at keeping you hooked and entertained despite you knowing how this movie will end. Literally the ending is spoilt in the opening scene, and in the trailer as well. And I like that Iris's identity is not given away as a twist. You know what she is pretty much from the start. And yeah, overall I thought this was a cool little thriller slasher horror comedy. I think it had some great performances in there as well. Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid, easily the standouts in this film. It's very entertaining from start to finish. Go give this one a watch if you haven't already. And then I watched Total Recall. Yes, I'm a big Arnold fan, and somehow I've never seen this movie. I'm surprised I haven't till now. But I really did love this movie. It's got a really cool concept that's executed really well, kick-ass action, groundbreaking special effects that still hold up today. Arnold's doing this thing, and there's a woman with 3 tits. That's awesome. So yeah, Total Recall, had a blast with this one. Check this out if you haven't. And then I watched Chungking Express. This was a movie I had to watch for university the other week, and I thought it was great, but I don't think it's a masterpiece like a lot of people think it is. I really wasn't a fan that it did 2 stories in the same movie. If you don't know how the structure is, it's basically one half is one story, and then the rest of the movie is another story. I really didn't understand why it was like that. I didn't get it. I did like both of the stories, and I really did like the themes that this movie goes into, but I just wasn't a big fan of the structure. But I did still really like this film. It feels very human and realistic, gorgeously shot as well, and brilliantly acted. And as someone who's gone through a lot of breakups in his life, I really did connect with this movie a lot. So yeah, Chungking Express, really enjoyed it, even though I had some issues. And then I watched Love Hurts, which I'm not going to talk about much because I recently reviewed it. But yeah, I just found this movie kind of mid. It's saved by the really cool action and Ke Huy Quan's performance. But other than that, there's just nothing special here. A bit of a bland story. It's one of those movies that you'll watch and then 2 hours later you'll forget about. And then I watched This movie would not have worked without Robin Williams. This is easily one of his best performances. I like going into the behind the scenes stuff, how he did so much ad-lib, that they struggled to find bits that they needed for the movie. Like that was just so cool. It just shows how talented this guy was. It's also brilliantly edited. The soundtrack to this movie is an absolute bop. I love the Vietnam era songs. And while the story is nothing too special, it's still very solid. So yeah, Good Morning Vietnam. I really enjoyed this one. And then I watched Captain America Brave New World. Not going to talk about this one much because I recently reviewed it. But yeah, I thought this movie was just fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Just another standard ass Marvel movie. Its story is all over the place, but I did like some of the character work. I thought the action was pretty good as well. It had some good performances in there as well. But yeah, an okay Marvel movie. It does its job. I don't really have much more to say. And then I watched Eden Lake. Now this movie really surprised me because I thought this movie was going to suck. I mean, a horror movie about teenage boys harassing this couple just seems really stupid. But you know what? This movie was absolutely fantastic. This is easily one of those movies where there is no happiness to it whatsoever. It is a dark, depressing movie that hosts a very simple but effective message. Bad parenting leads to bad kids, and nobody wins in the end. I thought it was a very simple message, presented very well in a really disturbing manner. Every scene is full of tension. The main characters are nothing complex or anything, but they are very likeable due to them being very friendly, even when they are being presented with conflict. And that ending, oh my god, I'm not going to spoil it, but wow, what a way to end that film. But this movie would not have worked if the child acting was bad, but thankfully I think the child actors did a really good job here, and the main actors as well. Michael Fassbender obviously doing a good job as well. So yeah, Eden Lake, I really did like this one, even though it was very disturbing, not a fun time at all, but definitely give it a watch. I think this film was seriously underrated. And then we got The Monkey again. Not going to talk about this much because it was literally my last video. But yeah, I thought the movie was just fine. It was entertaining enough. Had some pretty fun kills. The story was just nothing really. The performances were pretty good. It was shot really nicely. That's all I really have to say about this film. And then I watched The Banshees of Inisherin. What a tragic movie this was. This film did so much that I did not expect. It's an emotional watch that showcases its themes in a dark but cautionary manner, while still managing to implement some dark comedy in some really good places. The cinematography made Inisherin look absolutely beautiful, made me want to visit there. And I think Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are so good in this movie. I love their chemistry and how they interacted, and I think they did a good job at showcasing that even when these two characters are feuding, they do still care about each other in some way. I absolutely love this film. It's one of my favourite first watches of the year. Do go and watch this one if you haven't already. And then I watched 9. This is one of those films that didn't really do well when it released, but it's since gained a cult following. And I've never seen it till now, and I enjoyed it, but I don't really see why people think it's that great. For such an interesting concept, its main goal can feel very basic and underdeveloped, and so does its exploration of its themes. There's also quite a few things that I would have liked to be explained better. But that being said, I still very much enjoyed this movie. The animation looks really good apart from a few janky shots. I really like the aesthetic and the look of the world, and I also think it did a great job with its atmosphere. And this is certainly not a film for little kids, maybe for younger teens, but there were some moments in this where I thought, oh my god, this is certainly not for kids. And I thought the performances were pretty good as well. So yeah, overall, this was a very enjoyable film, but it could have been so much more. There's so much potential to be had with this world, the lore, the characters, but barring a few times where it decides to get wacky, the film just feels very basic and underdeveloped. But still, it's a good watch if you have 90 minutes to kill. And those are my first time watches of February, but I've decided to add in a couple of TV shows that I watched this month as well. We'll start off with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1. I really enjoyed this show. This is easily one of my favourite pieces of modern Spider-Man media. I think the story was pretty good and I liked all the character arcs. I would have preferred it if it was more episodic instead of just having a full through-line story, but it didn't really bother me that much. And it led to some cool cameos from other Spider-Man characters and other Marvel characters, and I think they absolutely nailed Spider-Man and Peter Parker's personality. He's easily the most likeable Spider-Man that we've had in movies and shows. There's this one scene in the first episode where he lets a woman go, even though she's stolen money. Like, that's Spider-Man. That's the character that I know and love. I thought the action was pretty good as well, and I like that it wasn't afraid to get dark and violent with it sometimes. I think the animation did grow on me after a few episodes. I did mention a few weeks ago that it didn't really look good to me, but over time I've come to appreciate the style, and I think the performances were really good as well. So yeah, Season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I had a blast with it. If you love Spider-Man, this is definitely one you should check out when you can. Really looking forward to Season 2. The other show I watched was a show called Sweet Pea. Now this is a British show where we follow this woman who has psychopathic thoughts. She wants to murder certain people for certain reasons, and then one day she just snaps. And then we go through all these twists and turns with her character, trying to cover up this murder, trying to gain a career, and it was really cool. I really did like the tone that this show went for. It's very serious, but it's not afraid to shove in loads of really dark humour in there as well. I thought the story was really captivating. I like that half of this show was just our main character trying to cover up this murder, and also using it to her advantage to get higher up the ladder at her job. I really think they did some really cool concepts with her character. Ella Purnell is absolutely fantastic in this show. In fact, I think she was better in this than what she was in Fallout. I really want to see her in more stuff. She's a really gifted actress. Overall, I thought this show took a really simple concept, but played around with it so much that you really didn't want to stop watching. And that ending, oh my god, bring on Season 2, I want it now. So yeah, Sweet Pea, I really enjoyed this show. I would highly suggest you give this a watch when you can. And yeah, people, those are my first time watches of February 2025. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on these movies and shows in the comments. Have a good day, guys, and see you later.